breakfasts are a very important meal of the day here, especially living on a dairy farm. Josh and the kiddos are usually pretty hungry after morning chores, and so I like to try to do as much as I can from scratch. So this week I want to give you a little peek into our from scratch winter menu here. If you're new, we have 5 kids, and so a lot of hungry little mouths to feed, and it is such a joy. It's honestly one of my favorite parts of homemaking is cooking for my family. So I'm gonna start off here today actually with a cottage cheese and egg bake. Obviously very high in protein, but it's also just a delicious warming dish. So first up, I am cracking 12 eggs, if I am counting correctly as I am talking, into my bowl. So basically what I did is I put 2 cups of cottage cheese in here. I added 4 tablespoons of heavy cream as well because I used our homemade cottage cheese, which is a very dry curd. So if you're using store-bought, it's usually a wetter curd and you would not need to add the cream. But if you are using more of a dry curd, I would recommend adding a little bit of cream like that just to ensure that it blends really smoothly. I love even just putting cottage cheese into scrambled eggs and things like that. I feel like they help make eggs so fluffy. And so blending them like this is just like extra fluffy. And so this will be a really delicious bake. Okay, I'm gonna grab my whisk. We'll whisk this together. And then we'll add a cup of Parmesan cheese and then 2 teaspoons garlic powder. And then we'll do some salt and pepper. I'll give that a stir, and honestly, you can definitely customize herbs, spices, and then veggies according to your liking. I am literally so out of veggies right now. Hoping to go get some groceries this afternoon, but I did find some kale left in the fridge, so I'm gonna add that here for my veggie. I find that bakes like this are a great way to sneak in veggies where the kids don't necessarily notice like textures and things like that as much. So I would love to be adding like peppers, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, so many options that would be delicious in here. But again, I need to go grab some groceries first. So this is how I'm gonna do mine today. I also thought of adding ham or sausage to be a great way as well, just to kind of switch it up if you want this to be in part of your weekly rotation. But this is all I'm gonna do with mine today, keeping it super basic. I'm gonna bake this at 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. You want it to be a little bit jiggly still when you pull it out so that it's not over baked in the end. And then we'll top it with a little bit of sour cream and then my microgreens. This morning I'm started here on a batch of, actually a double batch of granola. We go through this stuff so quickly, and I just put my rolled oats, my pumpkin seeds in here, and then I have my coconut oil, maple syrup, honey, all that stuff heating on the stove there. So we're gonna quickly throw that together, and I thought while we did that, let's mix up one of my favorite drinks of the day. I tried to drink it every single day. This was just water in here, and then I like to add some pure cranberry juice. This is the Lakewood Organic Cranberry Juice Concentrate. And then I put in my little Element electrolyte packet. I have seen such good results since I've started doing this combo a number of months ago. Now I want to say maybe 4 months ago. It tastes delicious. The little ones keep coming and asking, can I share that with you, Mommy? It is so delicious and so good for you. I'm so grateful that Element is also sponsoring today's video. So good. I put in the grapefruit kind. That's one of my personal favorites. But if you are not familiar with Element, basically they have delicious electrolyte drinks and they come in super easy packets. They also come actually in these little, almost like soda pop cans, and those are a little bit fizzy, so it makes it a fun little twist. But I think it's a pretty well-known fact by now how good electrolytes are for you. But a lot of electrolyte brands have a lot of stuff in the electrolytes that you do not want to be consuming. Things like sugar, fillers, artificial colors and dyes. That is not what we're going for when we're drinking our electrolytes. I really appreciate that about Element. They have all the things that your body needs. You're actually getting sodium, potassium, and magnesium in these little packets. Personally, I have been loving them, especially for my hormones. I've seen my hormones balance out beautifully after being on this a number of months. That has been really exciting for me after years of struggling, especially with monthly cycles. And so if you're not familiar with what low electrolyte feels like, that can come across in your body with symptoms such as brain fog, low energy, headaches, fatigue, things like that. And so it can just be a really practical thing as well. If you would like to give them a try, you can get a free 8-count sample pack of some of their most popular flavors. So if grapefruit isn't your thing, they have watermelon, they have raspberry, they have even a spicy one. I think it's mango chili, but they have 8 of their most popular flavors in those sample packs that you can get with any order. If you go over to drinkelement.com/golden hour, that's DRINKLMNT.com/golden hour. And if you do end up giving them a try and are not completely happy with them, they have a no questions asked refund policy. So they're super easy to work with. I think you will love them and I hope that you see big improvements like I have. Okay, I think my maple syrup mixture here is ready to go in. I like to do a mix between honey and maple syrup. It just like enhances the flavor, adds a little bit more dimension to it. And then we're gonna sprinkle in a good bit of cinnamon, grab a little bit of vanilla, and I think we're ready to pop it in the oven. I realized I'm out of parchment paper, so we're gonna have to go without that. It'll be a little bit messier to clean up, but we'll still get the end result. So I'll bake this. If you didn't see when I shared my recipe previously, if you want those chunks in your granola, just don't stir it at all. I like to have it in the oven at 300 for about 45 minutes and then pull it out and let it cool completely before adding in my freeze-dried raspberries and possibly my dark chocolate. I've been making pancakes the same way for probably the last, I don't know, couple of years, and finally switched it up the other day a little bit. I found a recipe for protein pancakes that piqued my interest, and they were so delicious, so fluffy. Maybe not quite as tall, but with the added protein in them, I just have really been enjoying them. So that's what we're gonna do here for breakfast this morning. We have some fresh raspberries, so I thought those with some homemade Greek yogurt would be such a tasty way to start the day. So what I'm gonna do, and what I love about this recipe, is that you throw everything into a blender. So it's a very easy cleanup as well. But first up, I'm gonna ground my oats. Then I'm adding 7 teaspoons of baking powder. And then I'm gonna do about a cup of whey protein. So a while ago, I was thinking, man, I live on a dairy farm and make all these dairy products and get left with a bunch of whey. Surely I can make my own protein powder, as one does. And so I went and freeze dried a bunch of whey which now is essentially a protein powder. And I've actually been really enjoying using that in recipes. It's not flavored at this point, although I would love to mess around with, you know, flavored protein powders like you can buy so easily at the store. But for now, I just have plain, and then I actually don't have quite enough of that, so I'm gonna use the rest. This is a mix of whey and colostrum freeze-dried, so I'm gonna top it off the rest with that. And obviously, if you are not on a dairy farm or want to make everything yourself, as I am, you could definitely use a bought protein powder as well. There are many great options on the market. And then I'm gonna come in with 9 eggs. Do you want to make a tea? And then we'll do a cup of yogurt, ideally Greek yogurt if you have some. And then we'll just top it off with a bit of vanilla extract. I'd say about a tablespoon. I'll do 4 tablespoons of maple syrup. If you're using a sweetened protein powder, you wouldn't need as much. And then I'll also go grab 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, and then we'll just blend it up and fry them. Something on our pretty much weekly breakfast rotation is baked oatmeal. Now, usually we have this reserved for Sunday mornings because it is such a quick and easy thing to throw together. Throw it together in like 5 minutes while we go and get ready, get everyone's hair brushed, all of that. But we were actually away last Sunday and we're planning to be away next Sunday, and today is looking to be a super busy day. So I thought, you know what, let's pull that out of our back pocket today. Everybody loves it. It's one of the kids' favorites, and so there will be no complaints. But what I started off with is just 3 cups of rolled oats, and then I'm doing a cup of buttermilk because I have a lot of buttermilk to use right now, but otherwise just regular milk works just fine as well. Then I'm gonna add, I don't know, about a half cup of raw honey. You can also use maple syrup, and if you prefer things sweeter, you could go up to 3/4 cup or even a whole cup of sweetener. Next, we're gonna add 2 whole eggs. And then 2 teaspoons baking powder, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then a pinch of salt and some vanilla. And then we'll just give it a good stir before adding in fruit. I add kind of whatever fruit I have on hand. I'll even add frozen fruit. It is really not picky at all. You can do like a cinnamon raisin oatmeal if you don't have fresh fruit on hand. It is so versatile. I know some people also would add like chocolate chips, which is totally up to you. Personally, we don't do that in our baked oatmeal, but no judgment if you do. We are gonna add some strawberries today that are needing to be used up. I would say I do about like 2 to 3 cups of fruit per batch of baked oatmeal. I love a really good like fruity oatmeal. So we'll add those and then it'll be ready to pour into the pan and bake. And then we'll bake this at 350 for about 30 minutes. Well, growing up in Canada, poutines were a very well-loved meal, especially if we would go out to eat. And so today I thought, you know what, let's do a little twist on that and make a breakfast poutine. So I'm starting with sweet potatoes. We're gonna do the fries, sweet potato fries. But if you prefer white potatoes, that would also work really well. I would use the same spices as I'm about to use on these. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the ends off as well as any bad spots, and then we'll just cut them lengthwise into fries. I used to have a crinkle cutter, which would have been fun for this as well, but it was very dull. So I ended up getting rid of that one. We will just use a straight knife and cut them into fries that way. Yeah, I'm working on it. Okay, got them all in my pan here, so we're gonna drizzle fairly generously with some avocado oil. And then I'll do a good bit of salt. I like to also add paprika to these. I don't have any right now. So sometimes the spices and seasonings vary a little bit, but I'm gonna grab some parsley flakes, basil flakes, and see if I at least have onion powder, and then we'll add that on top of this, and then they'll be ready to bake. And then I like to bake these at 450 to 500. I just keep an eye on them until they're crunchy and brown, but I would say maybe around 20 minutes. While those bake, I'm starting here on the toppings for the poutine. So I have some bacon. I thought it would be nice to just top it with some little cubes of bacon. And then I'm also starting to melt some butter here for a hollandaise sauce that will act as our gravy. I'm gonna take 6 eggs, just the yolks. So we're gonna separate the egg, pop the yolks into a blender. This recipe is from Downshiftology, and I'll try to remember to link it for you in the description box below, but it is so delicious and super easy to put together. So that is my go-to. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I probably have at least 3 here. We're gonna add that in with the eggs. And then 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Do a pinch of salt. And then the recipe calls for cayenne pepper. I'm just gonna set that on the side so that it's not spicy for the little ones. And then with the mixer running, I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. We're gonna slowly add in our melted butter. Good for it. Whoa. Let's put some eggs in. Yeah. To bite it, not just lick it.
Golden, golden thing.